So, what kind of purpose do you derive from this?
One is I notice I can't help but be drawn to this work. I can't help but derive some energy and some joy from just like the experience of discovery and being in that experience of discovery with people and helping like the fish in water, like seeing water for the first time. I love those, like whether it's micro or macro moments of discovery. So part of it is like it's an intrinsic motivation. It's like I just can't help but want to discover these things with people. Part of it is I can't stand when people are like passive aggressive, or when they're not saying the true thing for fear of upsetting me or upsetting someone else, and then they don't say the true thing, and then it just ends up creating more problems. Or they're bringing an elephant into the room, and then I'm so sensitive that let's say they're bringing in a ton of anxiety. I can feel that anxiety in me. It's not being named. I think I'm the one who's anxious. Like, it's kind of crazy making. So just like the experience of being around people who aren't able to just have that comfort with themselves, where they can just like be a little bit awkward and name what's actually going on, and work with that through the sometimes that can create some awkwardness when
Yeah,
you say the true thing in conversation, but like working through that with people can create more trust, more connection, more ease. And I think I've had an interest in leadership for a really long time. I want to work with a lot of people who are in leadership positions, whether or not they recognize they're in leadership positions. But it's like the world seems to be getting more and more complex, and the problems that we have to face are getting more and more complex. And then now we're also facing a lot more polarization when it comes to a lot of these problems. And I feel like I have something to contribute there. And I feel like we need good leaders and good facilitators and good coaches and good therapists. And we need leaders who are able to attune to the people that they're working with, that they're able to like sense, which means getting present, sensing the information coming from the people they're working with, sensing from themselves. And they need to be able to work, by taking these different perspectives and being able to integrate those. But they can't do that if they're tangled up in their own self-consciousness. They can't do that if they're tangled up in their people-pleasing tendencies and trying to avoid conflict. As good as they are as putting on the impression of being professional and I've got this, and like maybe they have the skills and the techniques to work with a particular group or a particular client and be able to help them along. Those techniques can be severely hindered if they're unable to actually be present with the people that they're working with, because they're so caught up in their inner tangles that
mhm,
they're going through the motions, but they're not actually, one, they can't adapt to if something changes, if there's a plan and then something changes, or the person doesn't respond the way that you expect them to. You need to be able to adapt to that, and you need to be able to engender trust with people. So I think there's a purpose for me in like helping people get out of their own way so that they can step up more and make more of a contribution, so that they're just more available, and they have more capacities online, such that the engagement that they're having with the people around them, or the people that they lead, or the communities that they're a part of, that engagement can become like a positive contribution, even if that contribution is just like, sometimes the contribution can be really small. Sometimes the contribution can be going from really self-conscious and sort of over-consumed in my own neuroses to being really present and open. And when I'm present and open, like I'm at a party or a group I'm facilitating, I'm more open, I'm more curious, I can connect more dots, the people around me feel more comfortable. And I
yeah,
think there is sort of like, there can be a rippling out kind of effect where open curiosity can evoke trust and safety. It can help people feel more open. And when people feel more open, they're naturally more creative, but they're also naturally more curious. And
yeah,
so then they're showing up just like 10% more curious, 10% more open, 10% more creative to the people that they're interacting with. That's a systemic sort of aspect of it. But I think we're in a dire time where I believe we need everyone to show up and to have more of a positive impact than a negative one, and especially with the facilitators and the therapists and the coaches and the other kinds of leaders out there, to be able to facilitate positive change, and to facilitate, the more complex the problem, the more complex the argument or the conflict or the technical problem, the more of us is required, not just as a facilitator, as the one who's like bringing everyone sort of together, helping facilitate the conversation, but it's like, as a leader, I need to be able to engender a certain quality of mindfulness, certain quality of openness and curiosity and perspective taking, and psychological safety, which evokes so much more collaboration and curiosity and working across differences, especially in these polarized times. So I think the work that I'm doing, and my hope is that the people that I'm working with will over time take on more and more responsibility and take on more and more opportunities for engaging with the people that they're working with, and to evoke more of that positive difference, because I think it's needed in the world right now. There's certain those capacities and those qualities